Am I the asshole for telling my sister she's the reason I'll never adopt? I, 30 female, have 3 bio-siblings, 37 male, 36 male, 33 female. And a sister, 31 female. My sister, who I will call Becky Biomom, is my mom's cousin. The story of Becky getting adopted by my parents was basically her bio-parents were addicts that just came one day out of the blue for a visit then abandoned her at my house. She was 5 weeks old. For a few weeks they tried to get my cousin's family to take her, but those assholes didn't want the shame of a baby with medical issues that was born out of wedlock. My parents fell in love with Becky and the rest was history. Thankfully all Becky really needed was love and a good home. She beat a lot of odds and leads a healthy, successful life. My parents never hid the fact Becky was adopted. She's biracial, and we all learned about her heritage growing up. Everything was perfect till her parents reached out when she was 22. They were clean and wanted a relationship. In the space of a few months she became a different person. It was like she hated us for taking her away from her bio parents. As soon as she finished college and got the €20,000 check my parents gifted her, it's a start-up we all got. She ghosted us and sent a letter to my parents telling them if they ever tried to contact her again she file a restraining order. She got married and none of us even knew. Her mother passed away when she was 26, which led her father to relapse then unfortunately die 8 months later. After Becky reached out, my parents welcomed her back with open arms, but I still can't. Which leads to now me and my husband recently had a baby via IVF after 6 years trying. 5 natural. I brought my son to meet the family tonight and after dinner the girls of us were in the living room. I thought up how he was worth everything, explaining my struggles, and that I'm gonna start naturally trying soon so he will have a sibling. Becky made a comment about why we didn't look into adoption since the world was already overpopulated. I told her, honestly we thought about it, but after all the shit you pulled I'm afraid you're the reason I will never adopt. Becky yelled at me to get over it already then left, and my mother said I shouldn't have spoke to her like that, so in the end I ended up leaving early too. My siblings are on my side but my parents are extremely mad. Also I'd like to point out English isn't my first language and I'm on mobile. Not the asshole because if her bio parents were still alive she wouldn't even be around y'all right now. Edit. Oh wow, 4 rewards, thanks y'all. Lol literally wrote this and went to sleep. Wasn't expecting it to blow up LMAOO. Not the asshole. I hate adopted kids who turn on the parents who loved them and raised them as soon as they find out their real parents want a relationship. She deserves it honestly. Not the asshole. She dropped her real family for strangers that share her genetic makeup. That must have been very hurtful and I'm sorry you experienced this. She asked a question. You gave your honest answer and also brought up a very valid concern. I have heard of similar situations, so it doesn't sound like an isolated incident. I don't know if any of the siblings got a real apology from Becky, but there are consequences to her actions, so until she gives a real apology and wanted to go to family therapy, she isn't taking ownership of her mistake and leaving the burden on everyone else to get over it. Congratulations on the new baby and wishing you the best of luck on number 2. Edited. Grammar. NTA. Did she ever apologize at least about what she did? Not the asshole. You are entitled to your feelings. Too bad she didn't like hearing how her behavior affected you. She can pull up her big girl pants and get over it. Not the asshole. I mean she asked the question, rather invasive and rude one mind you, and you gave the answer. Info. Has Becky ever had any issues growing up as an adopted child? Her reaction sounds quite extreme. I understand meeting bio parents is a huge deal, but this? Everyone sucks here. Becky shouldn't have asked that question. But your answer was just as shitty as her asking the question. She was a mixed-up young adult who had complicated feelings about her adoption and her bio parents. That's pretty usual. You could have shut her rude question down without dragging that all up and upsetting not only her, but the rest of your family as well. Am I the asshole for buying my daughter a Bible? I bought my Hindu daughter, 14F, a Bible because she wanted one. I asked her why, and she said she wanted to read all the holy books and pull out their similarities and compile them to form the basis of one supreme religion. She also said that she has no right to criticize any religion without knowing about it. She's a hardcore atheist. I was a bit weirded out, but teens, I guess. I got it for her and told her to not let her mom see. Take a wild guess. Her mom, my wife, saw my daughter reading it. And all hell broke loose. She screamed at me for trying to convert her daughter, when my daughter has already renounced any and all religion and does not even portray herself as a Hindu. and that she would grow up thinking that Christianity is better than Hinduism. Here my daughter chimed in, saying she couldn't care less about any religion and was just reading the Bible because she wanted to. My wife yelled at her, asking why she didn't read the Bhagavad Gita then, holy Hindu book, and my daughter simply replied that she didn't want to. My wife started screaming again, saying that she was too young to make her own choices and she wouldn't listen to a teenager who used baby toothpaste. Look at my previous post. My daughter was like, okay? Dad paid for the book, I'm reading it. Where do you come in the transaction? At which point my wife called my daughter disrespectful and went back to her silent treatment. My daughter shrugged and went back to doing whatever, and I'm here now. And #X200B. Am I the asshole? I bought my Hindu daughter, 14F, a Bible because she wanted one. It's really not more complicated than this. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, and your wife thinking your child shouldn't have any autonomy is a pretty bad sign. Thank you for letting your child explore the views she opposes. That's how you get a rational adult. Not the asshole. She asked for it. Also, your daughter sounds incredibly intelligent and mature. Mom should be proud. Info. Why are you even married to your wife? Not the asshole. To be fair, reading the Bible is the best way to turn people completely off of Christianity so your wife doesn't have anything to worry about. Aside from that, your daughter is totally right that it's good to learn about all religions, and if she was raised Hindu she probably feels like she already knows about that religion and wants to learn more about others. If she's atheist not Hindu then she's already not following your wife's religion, so why does your wife care? My only criticism of you is you labeled your daughter Hindu yourself in this post when you said she doesn't identity as that. Not the asshole. I hope you realize how wildly impressive your daughter is. It isn't just a teen thing. You have a daughter who wants to take the time to collect facts before making judgments. And a daughter smart enough to realize that basically all major religions run off the same core principles, and once you realize that you can understand that no one is superior, and it ultimately does not matter how you identify. I am sorry for your family drama, but I applaud you and your wife as parents because clearly you are doing something right with your child. She sounds brilliant, truly. Please continue to encourage her intellectual explorations. Not the asshole. Your daughter's last reply was hilarious. Not the asshole. Your wife sounds crotchety. Let your daughter read what she wants. She's being pretty mature for a 14 years old and she's going on a theology journey. That's great. Encourage her always. She sounds like a great kid. Am I the asshole for telling my friend she can't sleep over at my place anymore? I live in a studio apartment with my cat. It has tiny bathroom and balcony. I love my cat more than family members. She knows I live in a studio apartment and have a cat. Apparently she is scared of cats. I just found out today when she visited. While we were up it was still okay, but she panicked every time my cat looked at her. She asked me to leave him outside on balcony. I told her it was impossible. It's freezing. I am not leaving him outside for 10 hours. I told her if she was uncomfortable she should leave. She declined and said it was okay. Around 11 p.m. she wanted to go to sleep and I have to leave cat outside. I went with my cat outside on balcony for 2 hours so she could go to sleep. I went back when I was literally freezing. She was still up. I was really upset. I stayed in bathroom for another hour cause I was still cold. Whole night she kept me up cause my cat was scaring her. She left around 9 a.m. and I told her it was last time she stayed with me. She got really upset and said how I choose animal over her. Called me some B-word and left. I don't know what she told some of our mutual friends, but they called me ass for upsetting her. So am I the asshole? Edit. I just had a talk with my mutual friends. She told them another story, how I suggested staying with me and I would let my cat stay with my neighbor overnight. I didn't know any of my neighbors. I told them what happened. Some of them apologized and some still think I was rude for not leaving my baby outside. I blocked that friend, and definitely do that with other ones too. Thank you so much for encouraging words. I should stop being pushover. On some of y'all who are concerned how can I love cat more than my family members, I wish people like them in your life growing heart. Definitely not the asshole. Get new friends. This level of entitlement is honestly baffling. Not the asshole. 1. Your friend is so entitled, she thinks it's your duty to turn your life upside down for her? 2. It took her 3 hours to fall asleep? Is she a baby? With colic? 3. You need new and better friends. Not the asshole. She wants to have her Kate and Edith, too. What an ungrateful guest. Wow. You are not the asshole. She got really upset and said how I choose animal over her. Obviously you can't leave the cat outside if it's that cold. I can't believe you even sat out there for 2 hours. But what did she mean by the above? Did she want you to kill the cat right then and there? Did she know you had a cat before she came over? She has an unreasonable fear and that is her problem to deal with. It's different being afraid of a dog. They sometimes snap and literally kill people. But a cat? Not the asshole lol, the cat lives there. She doesn't. End of story. Why on earth did she come over to your place, with the knowledge that you have a cat and live in a studio apartment, if she's so scared of them? Her requests were ridiculous. Your cat shouldn't have to be on the balcony alone in the cold weather. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your friend is fucking ridiculous. Not the asshole, I can't believe you spent 2 hours on the balcony in the first place. You need to post a cat tax of the nightmare beast. Am I the asshole for telling my significant other he has a disorder? I have been with my boyfriend for 11 years and we have 3 kids, the youngest being almost 3 months. Since I've met him, he's been awful to wake up in the morning. I have to set an alarm for myself to start waking him up about an hour before he needs to be up. I start out waking him up nicely and gently, but eventually I have to resort to yelling, as he just doesn't hear me, or shaking him. This happens no matter what time he goes to sleep at, although it's a little bit easier if he gets 8 hours of sleep. This has caused many arguments, but it's getting worse as I'm so exhausted from getting up with the baby. I have to be so loud in the morning that it wakes the baby up and there is no chance of me going back to sleep. I'm a Som. I understand this is a privilege and I'm sorry he has to wake up early, but I feel like I should be able to sleep in if I'm up with the baby all night and the other kids are sleeping. He woke up this morning asking why I'm so mad at him and I replied I'm not mad, I'm just talking loud so he will hear me and wake up. He replies, I am up, and falls back asleep. I'm nursing the baby stuck in a chair near the bed and every time I yell the baby startles and unlatches and it really is starting to piss me off and is painful. He semi-wakes up and we are going back and forth and I'm like, this isn't normal. You have to have some sort of sleep disorder because this is fucked up. He looks at me aghast and says, who talks to someone like that first thing in the morning? So I tell him it's not first thing in the morning, I've been trying to wake him up for over an hour. He just grumble at me and gets in the shower. When he gets out, my middle son is asking for something and he snarks to him, be careful, she might tell you have a disorder. I'm just so frustrated at that point I tell him to get out and get to work and start crying. I'm wondering if I am out of line for saying he has a disorder and maybe just need to suck it up and accept it since I don't have a job and get to stay home. What do you think, Reddit? Am I the asshole? Bet he starts waking himself up the first day he misses work because you stop doing it. Tell him he's on his own. It saves you the aggravation, and if he does have a disorder, it forces him to figure it out so he doesn't lose his job. Not the asshole, but this is a conflict that's easily resolved by just treating your boyfriend like an adult. Not the asshole, if you didn't wake him up, he'd just skip work and blame you? How did this system ever get set up? Also, getting to stay home is only a privilege if you actually enjoy it. I'd rather work basically any job than spend all day only talking to children. I feel like you've been conditioned to think that you have the day off every day when actually you're fulfilling a role that there's virtually chance your husband would be willing to do. You're sacrificing too much here. Not the asshole. A grown-ass adult has no excuse for not getting themselves up in the morning and relying on someone else to do it. This is true even if he has a sleep disorder because, again, he's an adult who needs to have it checked out. Not the asshole, but stop waking him up in the morning. Tell him that since he doesn't have a disorder, he can be responsible for getting his own grown adult ass out of bed on time. Presumably he did so before you lived together? You already have 3 children to care for, he can take care of himself. And if, after finding himself late for work because of oversleeping, he realizes that he does in fact have a disorder, it's still his responsibility to get help for it. You can only do so much. Not the asshole, he should see a specialist in sleep medicine or a neurologist to diagnose him for a sleeping disorder, e.g., sleep apnea, circadian rhythm sleep disorder. His issues are disturbing your well-being and it needs to be addressed. Not the asshole, he should at least get checked out by a doctor. Set off your fire alarms and see how long it takes him to wake up. What if you slipped and fell in the bathroom and he doesn't wake up from you yelling for help, the baby screaming because mom hasn't checked on them for hours because you are unconscious? Not the asshole. Dump a cup of icy water on him every morning and walk away. Not the asshole. I'm an extremely heavy sleeper myself. And you know what extremely heavy sleepers do when there's no one to wake us up? We figure that shit out ourselves. Stop making it your responsibility to wake him up. Sleep in a different room until he has a method that works for him. I bet he'll find one in no time. Various alarms that you need to stand or answer questions to silence are on the market. Failing that, he's welcome to see a doctor. I bet he'd find one quick enough if he doesn't have you to fall back on. This is his problem. He should fix it.